Hi, this is Chris Wong with another workout video. Hopefully I can record this in just one take. So today I decided to do a lot of many different exercises as to avoid overuse injuries. It's good to rotate during different exercises. I know there's times sometimes you have to work on the same exercise for multiple sessions in order to progress a bit faster. Because of the skill, the movement pattern, and then it reaches a plateau quicker that way. Sometimes rotating exercises can be faster or slower gains because giving your body something different to do all the time, but then the body doesn't fully adapt to the new skill set. So today I started off my workout with Jefferson curls, which I haven't done in a long time. I may do a couple sets like this once in a while, but instead of doing reverse hypers, I decided to do Jefferson curls standing on my band hip thrust bench. So I decided to do it just body weight first to see how it feels, get used to the range of motion, warm up the hamstrings, purposely round my back. Now, I also did this with 30-pound dumbbells per hand, and decided just to get used to the weights, have a total of 60 pounds try to pull me down, stretch my hamstrings, stretch my lower back, and then come back up. I find my range of motion increased over time. And although this exercise looks like it's a really poor form of deadlift, it is something people in gymnastics do in order to achieve flexibility. And I also see this exercise as a way to condition myself to handle vulnerable ranges of motion, to increase my range of motion to do deadlifts, to do Zercher deadlifts. I used to do this exercise in the gym with even heavier weights, with a very stable plyo box. And I even worked up to 245 pounds for 3 to 5 reps. And even when I got that heavy, my form changed. My form changed in a way because since the weight was so heavy, I had to kind of push my hips back a bit more, and I had to use my hips to come back up instead of completely my lower back. But when I got used to doing this exercise a few years ago, I had a lower back injury before the exercise started, and then surprisingly myself, I worked up to 135 pounds, and the back injury I suffered from for the last week at that time period, it went away. So I think Jefferson curls is actually a great exercise to do overall for mobility, to reduce chances of injuries and to be conditioned for it. Because I'm used to doing working out my hip flexors with a strength band, I got this idea of doing what is also known as, I think, psoas curls. So it's my trying to get the knees to touch the upper chest with adding some weight. And I saw a guy on YouTube doing this to help improve his squats. So I used to avoid doing hip flexor exercises completely because I was told the hip flexors would be constantly active due to sitting down a lot. I used to work in an office where I would sit down a lot. I didn't get up as often, and my hip flexors got really tight. But now, after some further reading or some trial and error, I realized my hip flexors were still getting tight, even when I'm not doing an office job. And it also could be because I didn't activate my glutes enough. But even though I'm constantly working out my glutes consistently, I find over time that the opposing muscles have to get worked out too. in order to create balance. So even I've heard there's no such thing as too much glute work. I think over time, even as the glutes get stronger, the hip flexors need to get stronger in order for the squats to go up and for the hip thrusts to go up as well. So I end up finishing my workout or this exercise up to 40 pounds per leg. And now today I decided to do a high rep day. And usually when I do band face pulls, I usually do about 20 reps at a time just for activation of the traps and the rear delts and to put my shoulders in a better position. And that way I don't fully fatigue the muscles to the point of delayed onset muscle soreness. But today I decided to just work out in a way where I create a lot of DOMS and just take the next day off. So I try to do 50 reps before I let go of the band. And the band tension I use is quite high. So that's why I have my foot on my power rack, just so I don't lean back too much and don't feel like I'm being pulled forward while trying to pull the band. And even though I find this type of grip, it's also really hard to hold at times because the grip is so narrow. So even times when I rotate the exercise, I'll wrap some cloth or towels or thick socks around it just to make the grip a bit thicker. So I think to talk about variations, I think it's important to change rep ranges too. I do think it's also important to be more consistent with a rep range you're trying to get better at, but then other rep ranges can be beneficial for working out too, to give a body a break. I was thinking in strongman, they have to get used to different rep ranges, for the competition. So there's exercises where they had to see if they can lift that weight for even 1 or 2 reps. And then there's competition where they have to do as many reps as possible within a certain time limit. And even exercises like farmer's walk, they have to be able to carry it over a certain distance. And it was a mistake I made years ago while I was training, where I tried to lift it as heavy as possible, and I only walked a very short distance, and didn't really condition myself to handle longer distances on a regular basis. Now, I use straps, but I can talk about that in another video. But I should make this video more about talking more about rotation of exercises, or the exercises I'm doing for this workout. And I try to do a total of 100 reps for the day, so I split it up in 2 sets. So that's why I was saying doing sets of 50 for this. And then onto the next exercise, I decided to reverse lunges with the safety bar, squat bar, because my knee, it wasn't feeling right. So I want to experiment with being consistent with doing front squats, or just doing squats in general, just to get used to the movement pattern. But because of my left knee injury I got about 2 years ago, I realized over the years I've been putting more compensation on my right knee, and even once in a while now, my right knee feels a little bit of pain. It's something I heard about when I was talking to other people when they actually injured their ankles or when they injured their knees. They felt that other side of the other limbs were getting injured too, or other muscles were getting injured too. Like when someone told me she sprained her ankle one time, over time her lower back started hurting because her compensation or movement pattern was changing completely. So in order to do something else, I decided to do lunges, and I want to put my safety squat bar to use. Now I did try doing a deeper lunge standing on a 3-inch plate, and for some reason it didn't feel right on my knees, and I wasn't sure why. Like, I find it strange I can do ass to grass squats on a regular basis, but even just going a little bit deeper on this, it didn't feel right. So after the set, I decided to go back to no deficit. And then I want to do like higher reps today and try to use that 50 rep routine I did for squats, but this time I was going to do it for lunges. So I was doing or trying to aim for 25 reps per side for a total of 50, and I was working up to 110 pounds. I did find over time I was still getting out of breath, but it didn't feel as out of breath or as tense on my upper back and traps compared to like squats. And I think part of it had to do with the range of motion in a lunge is a lot smaller than the range of motion of squats. Because when I do ass to grass squats, I get my glutes to touch my ankles. And for lunges, it's just until my back knee touches the floor. And then my front knee only goes to like a 90-degree bend. And also because lunges, I'm more upright than at the bottom of a squat where I'm kind of tilted a bit forward. So that puts less strain on the upper back and traps. And also lunges, I only work out one side per rep compared to squats where I'm working both sides at the same time. But even though I still found this challenging, out of breath, and taking a few breaths in between reps, I still find it was still a decent workout, a decent set. I did find that my glutes were getting really tired over time, and I had to make sure over time I was taking the proper step back, because even as the set went on, if I didn't take a couple breaths just to think about where to take a step back, I could lose balance easily. So I never really did lunges often before because it wasn't really an exercise I really enjoyed doing. I wasn't sure why I didn't really enjoy it, even though I know a lot of people do it to increase the glute strength or glute size. And there's carryover to other exercises as well. So rotation of exercises, I still would rather do rotation of exercises and do something different once in a while, or just switch up something, because like no one wants to be in pain. And going back to the days where I did some warehousing, or even putting equipment to customers' houses, I find every situation is different. Every equipment is different. I would think a mover who delivers the exact same piece of equipment to a house of the exact same structure, exact same measurements. At first, it will get easier over time, quicker, but then the boredom increases much quicker, and then there's no increase in progress. But when it comes to like moving jobs in terms of different houses, different items, a lot of things change. Different sizes of products, different weights of the products, different sizes of the house, or different layouts. Might have to go up 2 flights of stairs to bring the item into the house, or might have to bring the item down a flight of stairs with a circular turn, or no turn, or even 90-degree turns. And that increases the challenge of the workout. The progress may go up a bit slower, but the rates of injuries or the constant challenging of ourselves will continue to go on. So I find like even like new movement patterns over time can help increase the strength of the original exercises we're trying to improve. Like even like if I was to change squats, I would change the stance width, or I would change the type of squat. Even try to experiment with different stances that I'm not used to, just to give the body something different to do, instead of just get used to one pattern. So after the set, I worked up towards doing good mornings. I didn't like doing good mornings with the safety squat bar. I used to, but after realizing it was putting too much strain on my neck, I pretty much stopped doing it. So I decided to use my axle barbell. Now I changed the way I did the exercise. I used to just put it on top of my traps. I used to find that as the weight got heavier, and when I get my upper back to reach parallel, it put too much strain on my cervical spine. So I decided to put the bar a little bit lower, like a trainer has taught me a while ago. I don't know if I can do that when the weight gets much heavier, but today I decided to do it with much higher reps. So I only worked up to 70 pounds for today's workout, and try to aim for about 20 reps. So I had it resting a little bit below the top of my traps, but with this weight I didn't feel weight pressing against my cervical spine, and I did find the benefits of using a straight bar. It wasn't straining my neck muscles at all. And I used the axle bar because I did find like using a regular Olympic bar, it can create an overuse injury with the grip. And I did find that even constantly using the bar for squats or good mornings, it's more likely to dig into the skin. So even this high rep sets, I found it quite challenging, even to my cardiovascular system a bit. Now, I still don't know if it can count as cardio. Like, there's differences in opinions. But I found myself like I was sweating more than usual, but not to the point of doing like marathons. And I also picked good mornings as well to exercise, because I realized I don't work enough of my hamstrings. Like I only got my hamstrings develop on a regular basis whenever I did Zerker deadlifts or whenever I did Penley rows. And now Penley rows is not really supposed to be a hamstring exercise as a primary exercise, but I find like just trying to feel that stretch or feel the hamstrings active is what reduces chances of lower back injuries. Now, good mornings I was never really consistent with because it was not an exercise I really truly enjoyed, but then I realized it's also an exercise that has a very great carryover to exercise like deadlifts, and it's also less taxing on the nervous system because deadlifts do take a lot out of the nervous system, and it was something that I can get a good hamstring workout. So even thinking about rotation for exercises or what the best exercises do, I find every exercise that I like and don't like has its pros and cons. There's no like one exercise that wins everything. There's always like a variation of an exercise that can train most of the body, or there's always one that can train more often, and there's always ones that can drain the nervous system too much. So that's why I think rotation is important overall. Now, can someone's nervous system adapt to the exercise to do quite often? Up to a certain point, I think it can. But then now, also thinking about the hormonal health over time, we do get used to stress, but we think we do, but then as we don't fully recover from it, it takes a toll on the adrenals, the thyroid, digestive tract, even mental health. So that's another thing I also think about too, is when I used to do the same thing over again, I made some progress, and then I never made progress after that. Then I started to feel boredom, not satisfied doing the workout, and then I feel like I gotta take a week off. And I either come back a little bit weaker or I come back stronger because the nervous system is healing. I finished my workout just doing 20 reps, or I think it was like 25 reps, just using an empty bar, just as a finisher. I tried to get the bar below my upper traps, just for the weighted stretch, as I find my upper chest, my front delts could use some stretching, and thought to just challenge myself, see how it feels. I also gave a break for myself from doing Arnold presses. I think I did a set or two of Arnold presses in the morning after I woke up, without going to failure, just enough for muscle activation. And I find myself when I was doing this exercise, even though I would like to do 20 or 25 reps constantly, but I was already tired, and I said, you know what, I'm just going to finish it no matter how tired I am, and I'm not going to put the bar down until I get to about 25 reps. And even times I was resting the bar on top of my traps. But when I meant I wasn't going to put the bar down, I meant I wasn't going to rest the bar on a rack or take the bar away from my body just to rest. Now this exercise is questionable for whether it's good for the shoulders or bad for the shoulders. But I'm willing to take the risk to see if it'll help my shoulders over time and put me into an optimal position.